click on like if you like this video, and subscribe if you want to subscribe, if you want to follow my journey. That would be very much appreciated. Okay. Wanna be moving? There we go. Good morning. So, I've got a little friend with me. He's being a bit jealous. He needs a bit of mummy time. I've got to clean the filters and do the second dose of Lernex Pro. So, I still haven't seen any koi flashing until last night, which is a little bit weird because they've never been flashing from the beginning, or when I realized I had Flukes after I did that scrape on that little shield, sorry. And sorry, still have a bad knee, so I'm a bit but when I was watching Andy from Koi Pond Lifestyle saying that because of the temperature, the warm temperature, the eggs hatch much quicker, and that absolutely makes sense, because what's happening now is last night I was doing a last feed and 2 of the koi flashed, which indicates to me that the first dose of Lernex Pro has probably worked, but now the eggs are hatching, which is 10 days now, so not two full weeks. So I'm going to do this second dose of Lernex Pro and see how I get on. It's no publicity whatsoever, it's just because I went to the pharmacy, found that drug. This is the ball I really wanted, because that's really helped to mix the powder. The Lernex Pro is so difficult to mix, that really helped to mix it. 5 minutes shaking, that will do my arm good. You can see the difference. You know, it's like milk this time, so it's going straight in without the powder floating and coming back. So really happy with that bottle. So the fish are not happy. They stay all together. Well, a second ago they were all together as a group, which they never ever do. Well, you can see there, they're all swimming together. Talk about, you know, getting together when things are bad. Even the fish are, they're sticking together. So there you go, gotta wait now, and I just hope that this Lernex Pro is definitely gonna do its job, and I will keep you updated. Well, it's now been 6 hours since I put the Lernex Pro. The fish are much calmer. It's funny because I was talking to Rachel, who normally doesn't really interfere with my animal stuff or anything, and she said to me, what's the worst that can happen if you do not put the filtration system for 24 hours? You're gonna have murky water? And she's right. So I thought, well, let's try it. So I've decided not to put the Easy Pod back on, and I'm gonna leave it like that until tomorrow about 11 o'clock. But at least the fish are swimming for 24 hours in Lernex Pro. None of the filtration system are taking out the Lernex Pro. In 24 hours I will put the Easy Pod that goes to the moving bed and back in the pond, and then after that I will be putting back on the multi-bay. There's no powder at all left on at the surface of the water, so it's definitely in the water, most definitely. So there you go, that's what I've decided to do, and I'm happy that the fish are not going crazy. I've been monitoring every now and again, and there's no flicking, nothing. So there you go, that's where we are. And now I'm gonna get ready. Rachel and I are gonna have finally a nice evening by ourselves. We're going to the cinema. Hallelujah! We haven't been to the cinema for a year and a half since all this pandemic started. So there you go. Can't wait. Well, here we are. So we are 48 hours later. The EasyPod and the moving bed were put back after 24 hours. So when I came here, the water was slightly murky. Not murky, but a little bit. And then this morning, around 11 in the morning, so that was exactly 48 hours later, I put back on the multi-bay, and now also put back on the Tempest that goes into the shower. They're a little bit hungry. I've barely fed them over the last 24 hours. First 24 hours I didn't feed them at all, but now they're really hungry, so I'm just going to feed them a little bit and then gradually build back. So the Lernex Pro doesn't knock your filters, right? It's not like a water treatment like PP or chloramine T or anything. What's knocked my filters right now is the fact that I've heavily cleaned them, and then I switched off the system for 24 hours, meaning that some of the beneficial bacteria that were somewhere in the shower, in the multi-bay, has sort of died down, and everything has died off. So pretty safe there. They are hungry. This was my test. And this indicates to me that the product has definitely worked and the dosage has definitely worked, because she is the one who starts spitting up her food. I would always recommend everybody to have a whitefish in your pond, even if you don't like them. And when I say whitefish, it's not a kujaku, okay? Because of this kind of scalation, you won't see anything at all. But if you've got a whitefish very much like this Goromo, or most likely like all the Shirotsuri, if there is anything wrong with your water, any parameters are not quite right, the Shirotsuri are the first ones to show signs of it. They will become veiny and you will see it. They will become reddish and you will see it. And see, when none of them were flashing, the one that became poorly was the Shirotsuri because of the Flukes. So whitefish and Shirotsuri are not for everybody, and I get that, everybody's got different tastes, but I highly recommend you to have one in your pond, because it will show you any signs of anything wrong with your water parameters. Shirotsuri seems to be much better, very alert, much more alert than it was before. So I'm just going to take a scrape. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some Tamodine. No point sedating him. So I'm just going to do it now. Since I've done the Lernex Pro treatment for Flukes, his sumi seems to have gone much deeper, which is really cool. I'm happy with that. I'm just going to take some scrapes. One scrape from the side where it was really affected. I'm only going to take 2 scrapes on him, and I'm going to take 1 scrape on the Ginrin Sorogoi. So I'm just going to treat him now. No need to sedate him. This product doesn't need to dry. It's just on contact. It's an antibacterial cleanser. So basically you just put it on the skin, and then you need to rinse it thoroughly and then put it back in the pond. really good. So he had originally two area where he was really affected. There's only one area now where he's affected, much less red. The scales are not raised anymore, which is I'm really super happy about. Some really good news, which is great. 2 scrapes on the Shiro Tori and 1 scrape on the Ginrin Sorogoi, and there is absolutely nothing. There's much less mucus than when I did the scrapes, almost 2 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago now. So to recap, my first dose was a full dose. Second dose, a few days later, was a quarter of a dose. UVs off all the time. Then I put the UVs back on for 3 days, 4 days, and then I put the other dose, the full dose last Sunday just gone. I put the full dose and I've turned all my filtration system off for 24 hours. Seems like this has done the trick. The Shiro Tori, as I said, is much better. One of the grazes has completely disappeared. The other graze that you could see is slightly there, but it's not angry like it was when I caught it last time, 2 weeks ago. The scales are not raised anymore. Obviously last time what I did, and you saw me doing that, when I sedated him, I originally thought it was an ulcer, so I treated it for the ulcer, but in fact was totally unnecessary because that's not what it was. But after I've done the scrapes, then I realized I had flukes, and that's all it was. So that I should have picked that up straight away, because normally an ulcer, it is quite round, but it's very distinct, meaning there is no scales that are missing around. That had 2 grazes, but with the scales missing towards the belly. So there you go. This is where we are. I'm really chuffed with that. I will do another scrape just to make sure in 3-4 days time on different fish. Well, I will definitely do a scrape on the big Kujaku. And I will try to do a scrape on the Goromo. The Goromo is still early days for him in this rehabilitation. I will explain in another video what happened to him and why he's in my pond. And well, why he's in my pond, because I wanted him. But what happened to him when he got delivered, what state he was in, and how much I had to nurse him back to health, basically. So he's still at the stage where he's fine, he's eating and he's happy swimming about, but the minute you approach too much or do too much around the pond, he's very much like an angry fish. And the first 3 days, that's all it was about. I felt I had an angry fish, if that is at all possible. But if you had seen how he behaved, you would really understand what I mean by angry fish. So I will try to do a scrape on him, but I don't really want to stress him too much either. He's still recovering from everything. That's where we are. So it seems like the Lernex Pro so far has worked for me. I think the trick for me was to leave the aeration on, but turn all filtration system off for 24 hours. I think this is what has done the trick for me, for my pond and for my fish. So there you go. I will give an update, obviously. But in the meantime, stay safe. Please click on like if you like this video. Thank you for watching. You stay safe. Happy ponding, and I'll catch you on the next one.